Dear students, in this video lecture, we will be deriving LMTD for counterflow heat exchanger.
Logarithmic mean temperature difference for counterflow heat exchangers. So this is the representation of a counterflow heat exchanger. Here you can see the hot fluid is flowing from inlet to outlet. The entry condition is TH1. The entry temperature of hot fluid is TH1 and the outlet temperature of hot fluid is TH2. Whereas the cold fluid is entering from the outlet. The cold fluid is entering from the outlet, then it will be in opposite direction, and the entry condition for cold fluid is TC1. So this is the outlet condition of cold fluid TC1, and here the temperature is TC2. Okay, and this is the length of heat exchanger is L and the area of heat exchanger is A. So if we represent the same in a temperature distribution diagram or temperature profile, that hot fluid temperature, the hot fluid temperature is decreasing from TH1 to TH2, whereas the cold fluid temperature is also the cold fluid temperature is also increasing from TC1 to TC2 from outlet to inlet. If you take inlet to outlet, the cold fluid temperature is decreasing. If you take the condition as outlet to inlet, the temperature is increasing. Since the cold fluid is entering from the outlet condition, we can say that it is the temperature of cold fluid is increasing from outlet to inlet. And here the theta1 is equal to, theta1 is the temperature difference of hot and cold fluids in inlet condition. Theta1 is equal to TH1 minus TC2. Theta1 is equal to TH1 minus TC2, and theta2 is the temperature difference of cold and hot fluids in outlet condition, that is equal to TH2 minus TC1. This you have to note, because in the case of parallel flow heat exchanger, theta1 is equal to TH1 minus TC1. Here it is TH1 minus TC2, and in case of parallel flow theta2 TH2 minus TC2, but here TH2 minus TC1. Now m dot h, as we already discussed, m dot h is equal to mass flow rate of hot fluid, and m dot c is mass flow rate of cold fluid. Cph is specific heat of hot fluid, and Cpc is specific heat of cold fluid. Cph hot fluid, Cpc cold fluid. So we can apply the energy balance equation, that is the heat which is liberated from the hot fluid is equal to heat that is absorbed by the cold fluid. So Q is equal to, it is the total heat, the Q is equal to mH Cph TH1 minus TH2. This is the heat which is liberated from the hot fluid is equal to heat absorbed by the cold fluid, mC Cpc Tc2 minus Tc1. So both are same since the system is isolated. So we can write this as mH, since mH into Cph is equal to Ch. mH into Cph. mH is the mass flow rate, Cp is specific heat. So the product of mass and specific heat is heat capacity. So I can rewrite the same equation as Q into Ch into Th1 minus Th2 is equal to Cc into Tc2 minus Tc1, which is equal to UA theta m. This is the general equation for a heat exchanger. So our aim is to find out the value of this theta m in terms of temperature differences. Now consider an elementary area dA of this heat exchanger. So we are considering this elementary area, that is dA of this heat exchanger, and the temperature difference for this elementary area dA is dTh for hot fluid. dTh is the temperature difference. You can see the temperature of hot fluid is decreasing, and that small difference is represented as dTh, and here the temperature difference of cold fluid is represented as dTc. For this dA area, the temperature difference of cold fluid is dTc, and the temperature at this point are Th and Tc, and the difference between Th and Tc is represented as theta. So if you are considering this small area, we can write that heat transfer equation as, or heat balance equation as, the dQ is the heat transferred in this elementary area dA. So dQ can be written as mH Cph dTh. mH Cph dTh, you can see a negative sign here because the temperature is decreasing. In order to compensate, I have put a minus sign here. So m dot Cph dTh is equal to minus m dot C Cpc dTs. Again we require a minus sign. Why? Because we are considering inlet to outlet condition here. So if you considering the inlet to outlet condition of cold fluid, the temperature is decreasing. So in order to compensate that, I have put a minus sign. Okay, and which is equal to UA theta. Theta is the temperature difference for this small elemental area. Okay, here it is not A, this is dA. Actually this is dA, so I'm just striking off UdA theta. Okay, because we are considering that small area dA, so it should be dA, not A. So correct it. Okay, now I'm taking dTh from this equation. I can write dTh as okay, before that I can rewrite this equation. Okay, sorry. Before that I can rewrite this equation as minus of m dot Ch into Cph as Ch minus Ch dTh is equal to minus Cc dTc is equal to U dA theta. Okay, now I can write dTh as minus dq by Ch and dTc as minus dq by Cc. So I can just subtract dTc from dTh. So dTh minus dTc. These are the same steps of parallel flow heat exchanger. Same step here for dTh minus dTc is equal to minus dq by Ch minus dq by Cc. So minus plus dq by Cc. So I can take this minus dq outside. So minus dq is equal to 1 by Ch plus, if you are taking minus outside, minus is remaining. So I can rewrite dTh minus dTc is equal to minus dq into 1 by Ch minus 1 by Cc. So dTh minus dTc, Th minus Tc is equal to theta. Th minus Tc is theta. So dTh minus dTc is d theta. So d theta is equal to minus dq. So what is this dq? dq is equal to u dA theta. So I can write the equation as d theta is equal to u dA theta 1 by Ch minus 1 by Cc. So dq as, d theta as is equal to u dA theta 1 by Ch minus 1 by Cc. dTh minus dt is equal to d theta, and this dq can be written as u dA theta. So d theta is equal to u dA theta 1 by Ch minus 1 by Cc. Okay. And the assumption that we have taken for parallel flow heat exchanger analysis are still valid for counter flow heat exchanger, that is U constant, flow is steady, CPM constant, all loss of heat into surrounding, not change of phase, changes in kinetic energy, potential energy are neglected, axial conduction is neglected. Every assumption is valid in the case of parallel flow, counter flow heat exchanger. And if you look at the steps of parallel flow and counter flow, both are same. If you know the derivation of parallel flow heat exchanger, then it is very easy to learn the derivation of counter flow heat exchanger. Okay, we can continue from where we stopped. This is d theta is equal to u dA theta 1 by Ch minus 1 by Cc. Now we can separate the variables, same variables, into one side. So d theta, here d theta, and here theta. So I can take this theta into this side, and okay. So I'm taking d theta into d theta by theta is equal to, the remaining is u dA. Remaining is u dA dA, okay, UdA 1 by CH minus 1 by CC. Okay, so I have separated the variables. Now I can integrate it after applying the limits. So theta, the theta is changing from theta 1 to theta is changing from theta 1 to theta 2, theta 1 to theta 2, and whereas the area here only dA area is changing from 0 to A, 0 to total area A. Now we can integrate it. So 1 by theta d theta, that is log theta. So log theta and applying the limits, log theta 2 minus theta 1. So that can be written as log theta 2 by theta 1. Okay, and this is U dA. Applying the limits, area A minus 0, that is UA 1 by CH minus 1 by CC. So this is the equation that we are getting, and now we need to have a substitution for this CH and CC. For that we can consider this equation. So here Q is equal to CH is equal into TH1 minus TH2. So I can, from this equation I can write 1 by CH as, for 1 by CH, if you are putting CH into this side, so TH1 minus TH2 divided by Q, and 1 by CC is equal to 1 by CC is equal to TC2 minus TC1 divided by Q. So now I can substitute these values. Substitute these values. Okay. Substitute these values here. Log theta 2 minus theta 1 as log theta 2 by theta 1 as UA 1 by CH TH1 minus TH2 by Q minus TC2 minus TC1 by Q, TC2 by Q. So I can take this Q outside, that is UA by Q, and I am going to do some rearrangement, that is TH1 minus TC2 minus TH2 minus TC1. So here TH1 positive sign, TH2 negative sign, TC2 negative sign, and TC1 negative and positive. So that is TC1 is positive side here. Okay, so I can do this arrangement, and now I know TH1 minus TC2, TH1 minus TC2 is theta 1, and TH2 minus TC1 is equal to theta 2. So I can write here UA by Q, theta 1 minus theta 2. Okay, we have missed something. Okay, yes, this is what we missed here. Minus sign, I forgot to put this minus sign, so there is a minus sign here. Sorry guys. Okay, here there is a minus sign, here also a minus sign, and here minus sign, here minus sign. Okay, minus sign, now it is right. So this is equal to UA QA divided by Q is equal to theta 2 minus theta 1 is equal to log theta 2 by theta 1. This is Q. Okay. Then we can write the Q as UA theta 2 minus theta 1 divided by log theta 2 by theta 1, which is equal to UA theta m, where theta m is LMTD. So theta m LMTD of counterflow is equal to theta 2 minus theta 1 log theta 2 by theta 1. So this is theta m for counterflow. So interestingly, if you look at the theta m for parallel flow heat exchanger, this is the theta m for parallel flow heat exchanger, LMTD for parallel flow heat exchanger, theta 2 minus theta 1 log theta 2 by theta 1. And what we have got right now for counterflow itself, theta 2 minus theta 1 by log theta 2 by theta 1. So both are same. So where is the difference? The difference is here theta 1 is equal to TH1 minus TH1 minus TC2, and theta 2 is equal to TH2 minus TC1. And whereas in this case for parallel flow, theta 2 is equal to TH1 minus TC. Theta 2 is equal to TH2 minus TC2, and theta 1 is equal to TH1 minus TC1. So that is the difference between this LMTD of counter and parallel flow heat exchanger. Okay, now we are going to discuss about some special cases. If you analyze the temperature profile of parallel flow heat exchanger, you can see the temperature difference is represented as theta 1 here, and here is theta 2. And if you take the case of counterflow heat exchanger, this is theta 1 and this is theta 2. And if you analyze it closely, there is a chance for counterflow heat exchanger that theta 1 can be equal to theta 2, but it is not possible in the case of parallel flow heat exchanger, because arrangement is such a way that the TH1 minus TC1 is always greater than TH2 minus TC2. Here there is a chance that theta 1 is equal to theta 2, and if that is there, that theta 1 is equal to theta 2, then there may be a chance that theta m is theta 2 minus theta 1 by log theta 2 by theta 1. It will be 0 by 0 form, so we cannot move further. So for that we will apply L'Hospital rules, and I can write limit theta 2 tends to theta 1 is equal to theta 2 minus theta 1 by log theta 2 by theta 1. So I'm taking this theta 1 outside, so theta 1 into theta 2 by theta 1 minus 1 divided by log theta 2 by theta 1, applying limit theta 2 by theta 1 equal to tends to 1, and I'm substituting theta 2 by theta 1 as r. So limit r tends to 1, theta 1 r1 theta 1 r minus 1 log r. So now we can apply the L'Hospital rule, differentiate numerator and denominator. So if you differentiate the numerator, it is theta is remaining, and if you differentiate log r, 1 by r is remaining, limit is there, r tends to 1. So if r tends to 1, theta by 1 by r, the answer is equal to theta. So if theta 1 is equal to theta 2 for counterflow heat exchanger, the total heat exchanger can be written as UA theta. So theta can be TH1 minus TC2 or TH2 minus TC2. So this is the equation. If theta 1 minus theta 2, you can take either theta 1 or theta 2, both will be same. Q is equal to UA theta. And LMTD of counterflow is always greater than that of parallel flow, and that is why counterflow heat exchanger can transfer more heat than parallel flow heat exchanger. So this is all about the derivations of counterflow heat exchanger and parallel flow heat exchanger, and please go through the derivations. It is very easy to learn.